Life doesn't always go the way we plan. We try to hold everything together, controlling every outcome, fixing every problem, and constantly chasing clarity in a world full of chaos. But the more we try to control, the more we feel lost. The more we grip tightly, the more exhausted and disconnected we become. Our minds race, our hearts ache, and still peace feels just out of reach. In Buddhism, there is a quiet wisdom that offers a gentle truth. Sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is to let go. Not because you're giving up, but because you're finally allowing life to unfold as it was meant to. You step aside, you take a breath, and you allow the universe to move through you, not against you. This isn't weakness, this is trust. This is the sacred art of surrender, calm, conscious and deeply alive, because when you stop forcing the path begins to appear. Let the universe decide, let it guide, let it reveal quietly, perfectly, in its own divine time. First, stop interrupting the flow. Trust the current of life. Life is like a river, always moving, always flowing. A river doesn't stop to question where it's going. It doesn't resist the rocks in its path or try to climb back upstream. It simply flows, naturally and effortlessly, trusting that its course will take it exactly where it's meant to go. Now, imagine if the river suddenly tried to control every turn, every pebble, every ripple. It would no longer be a river, it would be stuck. Your life works the same way. Deep within you, there is a natural rhythm, a current that wants to carry you forward. It's the quiet intelligence of the universe, gently guiding you toward the people, places and lessons you're meant to encounter. But instead of flowing with it, many of us try to interrupt it. We let fear creep in, we overthink, we doubt, we panic when things don't happen on our timeline or in the way we imagined. We start paddling against the current, exhausting ourselves in a fight we were never meant to win. Buddha taught that attachment and clinging are the roots of suffering. We often think this means clinging to physical things or relationships, but it goes deeper than that. It also means clinging to control, clinging to outcomes, clinging to the belief that life must go exactly as we planned. And every time we tighten our grip, we block the blessings that were already making their way to us. Sometimes the most peaceful decision you can make is to loosen that grip, to stop trying to control every little piece of the puzzle. The truth is, the universe doesn't need your panacea, needs your presence. It doesn't need you to force the way, it needs you to flow with it. So breathe, let go, trust that the current of your life knows exactly where it's going. And the more you relax into that flow, the more magical your journey becomes. You won't need to chase the answers, they'll appear when the time is right. You won't need to scream for direction, the universe will whisper it to you when you are finally quiet enough to hear. Let the moment unfold naturally. Let the universe work in silence. Let life carry you home. 2. Silence is not empty, it's full of answers. In today's fast-moving world, silence is often misunderstood. People think silence means nothing is happening, that it's a void and absence of action, of solutions, of progress. But in Buddhism, silence is sacred. It's not empty, it's alive. It's the space where truth reveals itself, where clarity arises without force, and where the deepest parts of your being begin to speak. Think about how we often search for answers. We run to others for advice, scroll endlessly on our phones, or repeat the same anxious thoughts over and over, hoping something new will emerge. But all that noise only drowns out the one voice that truly matters, your own inner wisdom. And that wisdom only awakens in silence. When you're quiet, truly quiet, you begin to notice things you never saw before. The patterns of your own thoughts, the quiet nudges of your heart, the presence of life all around you, gentle, powerful, and waiting to guide you. But most people run from silence. Why? Because silence forces us to face ourselves. It reveals the thoughts we try to escape, but it also heals them. It teaches us that not everything needs to be fixed right away. Some things just need to be seen, to be held, to be understood without judgment. Buddhist monks spend years training their minds to sit in stillness, not to escape life, but to hear it more clearly. They understand that the universe often speaks not with noise, but with nudges, not with thunder, but with whispers, and those whispers are only heard in silence. So the next time you're searching for clarity, stop searching outward. Stop trying to fill the silence. Sit with it. Breathe into it. Let it open a doorway inside you that words never could. Silence is not your enemy, it's your teacher, and it holds more answers than any advice you'll ever hear. When you let your mind relax into that space, the universe begins to respond. Not always in the way you expect, but always in the way you need. Let silence work on you. Let it soften your heart, quiet your fears, and guide your next step, not with pressure, but with peace. 3. The more you release, the more you receive. We live in a world that constantly teaches us to hold on to our desires, our plans, our expectations, and our identities. We're told that if we want something, we must cling to it tightly, that if we let go, we'll lose everything. But in Buddhism, the truth is the opposite. The more you release, the more space you create for the universe to enter your life with wisdom, blessings, and peace. Think of your life like a bowl. If it's already fulfilled with stress, control, fear, and past regret show, can anything new enter? Even if the universe tries to pour something beautiful into your life, it simply overflows, wasted, because there's no room left. Releasing isn't about loss, it's about clearing the bowl, making space, allowing something greater to come in. We often hold on to things that hurt us, relationships that have ended, dreams that no longer serve us, or images of who we should be. We tell ourselves that letting go is weakness or failure, but clinging to what no longer belongs only creates suffering. You begin to carry what you were meant to set down, and that burden drains your energy, blurs your vision, and disconnects you from the present moment. In Buddhism, there is a deep reverence for impermanence. Everything in life is always changing: your body, your emotions, your thoughts, your circumstances. Trying to freeze things in place is like trying to stop the ocean from moving. It's impossible. But when you release your resistance, when you stop clinging to what was, you begin to move with life, not against it. Letting go doesn't mean you don't care. It means you trust. It means you allow things to flow to you and from you, like breath without fear, without pressure. And when you do that, something powerful begins to happen. The things that are truly meant for you begin to arrive, not by force, but by alignment, not through chasing, but through openness. It's like opening the windows of a stuffy room. As soon as you do, fresh air flows in, the light changes, you feel renewed. That is what letting go does for your soul. So if you've been holding on, tightly gripping the past, controlling the future, or obsessing over outcomes, pause, breathe, ask yourself, what am I afraid to release? And then remember, the tighter you grip, the less you can receive. The more you open, the more life can flow through you. When you trust the process, the universe gives back more than you ever expected. Let go, not to lose, but to finally make space for what you truly deserve. 4. Life is happening for you, not against you. There are moments in life when things fall apart, plans crumble, people leave, opportunities slip through your fingers. And in those moments, it's natural to ask, why is this happening to me? It feels personal. It feels like the universe has turned its back on you. But in Buddhist wisdom, there's a deeper truth. Life is not punishing you, it is preparing you. It is not happening to you, it is happening for you. Buddha taught that suffering arises not from what happens, but from how we relate to what happens. Most of our pain does not come from the event itself, it comes from the story we attach to it. We label something as bad, wrong, or unfair, and then we resist it with all our might. But resistance only breeds more suffering. Like trying to block a wave with your bare hands, you end up hurt and exhausted. Instead, what if you began to trust that everything you're going through has a purpose, even if you can't see it yet? That the pain you feel today may be creating the strength you'll need tomorrow? That the door that just closed was never meant to open, because something greater is waiting just around the bend? The universe often protects us through what feels like rejection. It often guides us by removing what no longer serves our path. Imagine this. A seed must be buried in darkness before it can grow. It must break open before it can rise toward the light. The same is true for you. When your life enters a dark or confusing chapter, it doesn't mean you're lost. It means something is about to awaken inside you. But only if you stop resisting the lesson and start trusting the process. In Buddhism, we are taught to observe life without judgment, to see everything, joy, sorrow, gain, loss, as part of a greater unfolding. When you stop labeling events as good or bad, you begin to notice the hidden wisdom in every experience. You begin to ask, what is this teaching me? Instead of, why is this happening to me? Sometimes life delays you because you're not ready. Other times, it delays you because something better is being prepared. And sometimes it breaks you not to destroy you, but to break your attachment to what was never meant for you. So if you find yourself in a hard season right now, breathe. Don't rush to fix it. Don't fall into panic. Look deeper. There is meaning behind the madness. The universe is rearranging things, even if it feels messy. Your job is not to control every outcome, but to stay open, stay grounded, and trust that every step is taking you somewhere sacred, because life is not your enemy, it is your teacher, your sculptor, and your guide. Every detour is direction, every challenge is a mirror, and every heartbreak is a doorway to deeper compassion and understanding. So instead of asking, why me? Start asking, what now? Instead of resisting the lesson, receive it. Let life shape you not through force, but through faith. And know this, the universe has never stopped working in your favor. It's just been working in silence. 5. You are not lost. You're just not listening yet. There are moments in life when everything feels blurry. You don't know which path to take. You feel disconnected from your purpose, uncertain of your direction, and overwhelmed by choices you don't fully understand. In those moments, it's easy to feel lost, as if everyone else is moving forward, while you're stuck in a fog you can't escape. But Buddhism teaches us a different perspective. You are not lost. You are simply being invited to listen more deeply than ever before. We often confuse movement with clarity. We think if we're doing more, achieving more, or staying busy, we must be on the right track. But the truth is, noise is not the same as direction. Activity is not the same as alignment. And sometimes it's only when everything goes quiet, when the distractions fall away and the plans stop working, that we're finally able to hear what life has been trying to tell us all along. This silence isn't a punishment, it's a portal. When you stop forcing the next step, your inner compass begins to speak, not in words, but in gentle feelings, intuition, instinct, that small voice in your chest that whispers what your mind is too loud to hear. But this voice doesn't scream it, only speaks when you are still enough to listen. Buddhist practice emphasizes right mindfulness, the art of becoming fully present with what is, not what you wish was happening, not what you fear might happen, but this moment exactly as it is. It's in that still awareness that truth begins to emerge. When you feel lost, it's often not because you've wandered off course, it's because you've wandered away from yourself. You've been listening too much to the noise of the world, what others expect from you, what society praises, what fear convinces you to chase, and in doing so, you've disconnected from your inner knowing, the quiet truth that has always lived inside you. The universe does not use panic to guide you, it uses peace. It nudges you through feeling, through intuition, through signs and synchronicities that can only be noticed when you slow down. So if you're in a season of not knowing, don't rush to escape it, sit with it, let the silence stretch. Ask yourself, what is life trying to show me that I've been too distracted to see? And then wait, not anxiously, but with presence, with faith. Because in that stillness you will begin to feel a subtle shift, a sense of direction that isn't loud but deeply certain, a sense of clarity that doesn't come from logic, but from alignment. The fog doesn't lift all at once, but it begins to fade when you stop running and start listening. You are not broken, you are not behind, you are not forgotten. You are exactly where you need to be to hear the next step. You are not lost. You're being recalibrated, redirected, awakened. And the guidance you seek will not come from the outside world shouting instructions. It will come from within you when you remember how to be still, how to be present, and how to trust the quiet wisdom that has been patiently waiting beneath the noise. So breathe, slow down, listen. You are not lost. You are being called home. 6. Nature doesn't rush, yet everything is accomplished. Look around you at the trees, the mountains, the clouds passing through the sky. Watch how the seasons change one leaf at a time with no hurry and no panic. A flower doesn't rush to bloom. The moon doesn't force itself into the sky. Everything in nature follows its own perfect rhythm. No moment is rushed, and yet nothing is ever left undone. This is one of the greatest lessons Buddhism teaches us. Patience is not weakness, it is wisdom. When we observe nature, we realize that all growth is quiet, all transformation is subtle. The greatest things are built slowly over time through consistency and surrender, not force and pressure. But modern life teaches the opposite. We are constantly bombarded with messages telling us we have to hurry, achieve quickly, decide immediately, and never fall behind. There's always a deadline, always a goal, always a sense that if we're not rushing, we're failing. And so we move fast, we push ourselves harder, we compare our lives to others, and feel like we're always running out of time. Yet in all this rushing, we forget how to be present. We forget that growth is not a race. Healing doesn't happen in an instant. Awakening is not something you forsake, it's something you allow. When you try to force life to move faster than it's meant to, you end up pulling up the roots of your own progress. You disturb the very soil your peace was meant to grow in. In Buddhism, there's a deep reverence for process, a belief that everything unfolds in the time it needs to. Just as you can't make the sun rise faster, you can't make your journey unfold before its season. True change happens when we trust the timing of Lifano, when we fight it. Nature is not passive, it is powerful, but it doesn't rush, it doesn't panic, it doesn't try to control every outcome. It simply responds to what is. A tree doesn't grow by force, it grows by staying rooted, by receiving sunlight, by allowing rain. Its strength lies not in speed, but in presence and patience. The same applies to your life. You don't have to hurry to be worthy. You don't have to prove your value by how quickly you succeed. The universe is not watching the clock. It's watching your alignment, your peace, your inner stillness. When you begin to slow down, something beautiful happens. Your awareness sharpens. You begin to notice the blessings you used to overlook. You begin to appreciate the quiet progress you're making, even when there are no big results to show. And more than anything, you begin to feel a sense of deep, unshakable trust that life is working even when it's quiet, that growth is happening even when it's invisible. So breathe deeply, stop rushing, stop comparing your timeline to someone else's. You are not behind. You are on a path that was made just for you. Trust that every moment, every step, every delay has meaning. Let yourself move at the pace of nature, slow, steady, peaceful, and yet powerfully purposeful. You don't need to force the future. You just need to stay rooted in the present and in time. Everything will unfold exactly as it's meant to. 7. Let go of how. Focus on now. One of the greatest sources of anxiety and exhaustion in life comes from our obsession with the how. How will I succeed? How will I be loved? How will everything work out? How will this pain end? We become trapped in endless loops of planning, calculating, and predicting. Our minds race ahead of the present moment, trying to solve problems that haven't even fully formed. But in Buddhism, there is a profound truth. The how is not your responsibility. The now is. The more you try to control every step, the more disconnected you become from the moment you're actually living in. It's like trying to walk across a bridge that hasn't been built, yet your feet are moving, but there's no ground beneath them. And in that space of fear and uncertainty, we lose touch with peace. We lose the beauty of now. The universe does not need your panic. It needs your presence. The how belongs to a larger intelligence, the sacred flow of life that moves through all things. It is the same energy that grows the trees, guides the stars, and breathes through your lungs without you needing to remind it to do so. Why then do we believe that our lives are somehow exceptions to this divine wisdom? Buddhism teaches that the present moment is not just important, it is everything. All of your power, all of your peace, all of your potential exist here in this very breath. When your mind is trapped in the future trying to decode the path, predict the outcome, or control the result, it is pulled away from the only place where transformation can actually occur, the now. The truth is, you don't need to know how it's all going to work out. You just need to know how to return to your breath. You don't need the full map, just the courage to take the next step in front of you. The rest will unfold in ways your mind could never plan. Imagine holding a tightly wrapped gift. You don't know what's inside. You can shake it, guess at it, or fear it. But all that worry does nothing to reveal the truth. The only way to discover the gift is to be present, unwrap it gently, and experience what is inside. That is what life is asking of you. Not your fear, not your control, just your presence. Letting go of how doesn't mean you become passive. It means you become aligned. You still take action, but you no longer act from fear, from pressure, or from desperation. You act from trust, from awareness, from peace. It's in this surrender that true power arises, because now, instead of wrestling with the unknown, you're dancing with it. Instead of trying to bend the universe to your will, you allow it to move through, you shaping your life in ways you couldn't have imagined. So if you've been feeling stuck, anxious, or overwhelmed by the question how, take a breath, return to the moment, look around, feel your body, hear the sounds, let yourself fully arrive. Because the now is not just a pause between the past and future. It is the center of everything. It is the only place where peace lives, the only space where the universe works. And when you surrender to it, miracles begin to unfold. Stop chasing the how, start trusting the now. Because when you do, the rest will take care of itself in silence, in stillness, and in perfect time. 8. The universe responds to inner stillness, not outer noise. We live in a world that glorifies noise. Every day we are surrounded by it. Constant notifications, endless opinions, demands for quick decisions, and the pressure to always be doing something. In this storm of distractions, we start to believe that movement equals progress, that sound equals truth, and that action equals power. But in Buddhist wisdom, there is a sacred reversal. The most profound shifts in life do not happen when you are loud and forceful. They happen when you become still. Stillness is not doing nothing. It is doing everything that matters internally. It is the space where clarity arises, not from thought, but from awareness. It is the moment when your racing thoughts slow down, your breath returns to center, and your heart begins to speak without the interference of the mind. The universe is not impressed by your noise. It is moved by your alignment. In a state of chaos, your mind becomes like a stormy ocean, turbulent, unclear, impossible to navigate. But when you cultivate stillness, your inner world becomes calm, like a clear lake. And in that clarity, the reflection of truth begins to appear. The guidance you were so desperately searching for starts to resonate from outside of you, but from within. Buddha often retreated into nature, into silence, into stillness, not to escape the world, but to connect more deeply with it. He understood that the answers we seek do not come from adding more, but from subtracting everything that clutters the soul. It is in the quiet spaces that wisdom grows, and it is in the stillness of your being that the universe begins to respond. When you are still, your actions become intentional. Your energy becomes focused. You stop reacting and start responding. You stop chasing what doesn't matter and begin receiving what does. And the universe notices. Have you ever noticed how the most powerful forces in nature are silent? The sun rises without a sound. The seasons change without announcement. The earth rotates in perfect balance without the need to prove its motion. This is how the universe moves excellently, powerfully, patiently. And when you align yourself with that rhythm, you stop forcing life to happen and start allowing it to unfold. You begin to notice the signs, the synchronicities, the gentle nudges that were always there, but hidden beneath the noise of your own mind. Stillness is your signal to the universe that you are ready, not desperate, not frantic, but open. It says, I trust. It says, I'm listening. It says, I'm no longer rushing, I'm aligning. And in that space, life begins to reorganize itself around your peace. If you feel like nothing is working, if you feel unheard, unseen, or unsupported, ask yourself, have I created enough stillness to hear the answer? Have I paused long enough to notice the gentle ways the universe might be guiding me? Because the signs are not always loud, the help is not always obvious, the wisdom is not always delivered in words. Sometimes it arrives in a moment of peace, a quiet thought, a calm knowing, a feeling that says, this is the way. So stop shouting at the universe with your worry. Start whispering with your presence. Let go of the frantic energy. Return to your breath. Close your eyes. Be still. Because the universe does not respond to pressure, it responds to peace. And in your stillness, it begins to move mountains. Let the outer world keep rushing. You return to silence. Because in that silence, you will finally hear the voice that matters, most the voice of the universe speaking through your soul. 9. Surrender is the highest form of wisdom, not weakness. We often grow up believing that to surrender means to give up, that it means failure, defeat, or helplessness. In a world that glorifies control, strategy, and constant striving, surrender is seen as the opposite of power. But in Buddhism, surrender is not weakness. It is the highest form of wisdom. Surrender is not the end of action, it's the beginning of alignment. True surrender doesn't mean giving up on life. It means giving in to the natural flow of it. It's about trusting that what's unfolding is far greater than anything you could force into place. Consider how much of your energy is spent trying to control everything, how others perceive you, what will happen tomorrow, or whether everything goes according to plan. And when it doesn't, you panic, you resist, you tighten your grip. But the more you try to control, the more life seems to slip through your hands. That's because control comes from fear, fear of the unknown, fear of failure, fear of not being enough. Surrender, on the other hand, comes from trust. It's a quiet, steady faith that you don't need to have all the answers, that there's a greater wisdom at work, one beyond your limited understanding, guiding and supporting you every step of the way. Buddha didn't teach us to fight the current of life. He taught us to awaken to it. He showed us that clinging creates suffering and that true peace arises when we let go. To surrender is to finally set down the heavy armor you've been carrying for so long, and in that release, find real strength. Surrender means releasing the need to be the architect of every outcome and becoming an active participant in the sacred unfolding of your path. It doesn't mean you stop caring. It means you stop forcing. It doesn't mean you stop moving. It means you move with presence, not panic. Imagine standing in the heart of a storm. If you resist the wind, it only pushes back harder. But if you stay grounded and accept its presence, you begin to find your balance within the chaos. That is surrender, not collapsing in fear, but discovering strength in stillness. When you surrender, you start to realize that the universe was never working against you. It was simply waiting for you to stop resisting, to stop trying to control every outcome, so it could bring you something far greater than what you had planned. There's a reason why the most awakened spiritual teachers live in such deep calm. It's not because their lives are flawless. It's because they've surrendered to life's imperfections. They've stopped trying to outrun uncertainty and have instead embraced it as the gateway to inner peace. So if you're feeling overwhelmed, stuck, or like nothing is going according to plan, maybe it's time to stop resisting. Maybe it's time to softly whisper the sacred words, "I surrender." Not because you've failed, but because you finally understand. Not because you are broken, but because you are wise enough to trust what's meant for you. What is not meant for you will never stay, and what's meant for you will never miss you. Your only task is to remain open, stay aware, and let life unfold in its own divine timing. Surrender is the bridge between struggle and serenity. It's the moment you tell the universe, "I trust you more than I trust my fear." And in that space of trust, miracles quietly begin to grow. Give yourself permission to let go. Take a deep breath and allow the gentle hands of the universe to guide you to where your soul has always longed to be. Lesson 10. When you stop forcing, you start receiving. Most of us are taught that if we want something, we must chase it. Work harder, move faster, hold tighter. We grow up believing that everything depends on our effort, our plans, our control. And while effort matters, Buddhism gently reminds us of a deeper truth. Sometimes, the more you push, the more you block. The more you chase, the further it slips away. But when you let go of that tight grip, when you release the pressure, you create space. And it's in that space that the universe can finally give. We don't often realize how much energy we pour into trying to force life into a shape we've imagined. We cling to people, goals, timelines, and outcomes, convinced that letting go means losing everything. But in Buddhism, this clinging is called tanha, the craving that leads to suffering. It's the belief that you must control everything, rather than trust the unfolding. Surrender doesn't mean you become passive. It means you stop acting from fear. It means you stop building your life out of panic and start shaping it with peace. Have you ever tried to untangle a knot by yanking at the ends? The more force you apply, the tighter the knot becomes. But when you relax, breathe, and work with it gently, it begins to loosen, Life works the same way. When you meet your challenges with tension and resistance, they often grow heavier. But when you bring calm presence to the situation, space opens and solutions begin to appear. When you stop forcing, your energy shifts from scarcity to trust, from control to flow. You no longer act from the fear that nothing will work unless you push. Instead, you begin to sense that life is already moving in your favor. You stop swimming upstream and start moving with the current. And in that surrender, everything begins to move, not because you forced it, but because you aligned with it. There's a quiet magic in letting go. When you stop chasing, you start attracting. Your peace becomes magnetic. People notice, opportunities begin to appear, obstacles soften, not because you demanded change, but because you created space for it. Think of a flower. It doesn't beg the sun to shine. It simply opens. It trusts. And in that openness, it receives everything it needs to grow. You are no different. Your worth isn't measured by how hard you fight, but by how deeply you trust. Your power isn't in the noise you make, but in the quiet alignment of your energy. The universe doesn't need more force. It needs more openness, more trust, more surrender. In Buddhism, and often through Taoist teachings as well, this is reflected in the principle of Wu Wei, effortless action. It doesn't mean doing nothing. It means acting in harmony with life, like a bird riding the wind rather than struggling against it, like a leaf floating gently downstream rather than struggling against the current. This is not laziness. This is wisdom. This is mastery. When you stop forcing, you begin to notice what's already present. You stop grasping for something far ahead and start recognizing the blessings that are right beneath your feet. You begin to understand that the moment you release your grip on how life should unfold, you finally receive it as it was always meant to be. So if you've been feeling tired, not just physically, but deep in your soul, tired from all the pushing, controlling and chasing, allow yourself this moment to pause. Take a breath. Come back to your center. Ask gently, what am I trying to force that I could instead surrender? And then, let go. Not from defeat, but from trust. Because when you stop forcing, you make space for life to surprise you. You open yourself to receive what is far more beautiful than you could have planned, not by chasing it, not by demanding it, but by becoming still enough to let it arrive. Life is not a puzzle you need to solve in a rush. It is not a race you are falling behind in, and it is not a battle that needs your constant defense. Life is a river, meant to be flowed with, not fought against. The universe is not asking you to scream louder or run faster. It is waiting for you to grow quiet enough to listen, calm enough to receive, and brave enough to trust. Buddhism reminds us, peace is not something you go out and find. Peace is something you come home to. Peace isn't hidden in some far-off future. It's here, beneath the noise, beneath the fear, beneath the urge to control everything. You don't need to fix every piece of your life right now. You don't have to rush your healing or understand the entire path ahead. You only need to return to your breath. Come back to this moment. Come back home, to yourself. Let go of the noise. Let go of the timeline. Let go of the fear. Soften your mind and let the universe work quietly in the background, because while you're busy trying to make life happen, something far more beautiful is already unfolding, without force, without pressure, and beyond anything you could have planned. So be still, trust deeply, and allow the quiet wisdom of the universe to guide you, not through control, but through surrender. You are not behind. You are not overlooked. You are being guided, always quietly and perfectly in silence.